Morning, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch. Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. I'm going to go over a few things before I start my day. So, let's go back in time. Let's go back in time to 2018, 2019. So, the World Magnetic Model is a model of the current state of the magnetic field lines, and so forth, which is normally updated on a 5-year intervals, so 2015, 2020, 2025, and so on. But the last one, which was supposed to have been 2020, there were some problems. In March 2018, they noticed changes in the migration of magnetic north. Scientists had to watch it even more closely and prepare for an update sooner than expected. So the World Magnetic Model is needed for military applications purposes, as well as civilian use, like GPS, submarines, military aircraft, civilian aircraft, right down to the farmers' tractors planting seeds. Now, they plant seeds miles long, so they use GPS. So it went from an average of 15 kilometers to a year to all of a sudden approximately 55 kilometers a year, a sudden acceleration which caught them off guard. So they noticed, they started to become worried towards the end of 2018. Oh, what happened then? U.S. government shutdown from December 22, 2018 till January 25, 2019. Coincidence? I think not. So when it comes to the pole shift or Planet X, a few things I've said over the years. As certain events will start to unfold, one of the things I said is watch for a change in the U.S. military status, deployment, and structure of the U.S. military. It's going to be a key indication. So they can be prepared to implement martial law for the control of the people. Now, you just had a publicly broadcasted for public consumption show and tell by Secretary of Who Gives a Damn, Pete, whatever his last name is, Hog. It's irrelevant. It was for a public show. So if you had to do a public recall of your top U.S. generals and admirals with their staff without alarming public suspicion, how would you do it? How would you do it? Would you put on a show like you just finished doing? Thin out the herd? Talk? Then after you thin out the herd, because you can't meet the physical requirements, PT testing, then of the remaining few, then in private and secret, you tell them the truth. Or even half the truth. Is that how you would do it? Along with coming up with reasons to declare certain areas of the United States as, war zones, we got to send in the military. Now let's bring in 3-Eye Atlas. I don't pay too much attention because I know it's a psyop, and I know it's in preparation for something else much larger. So some important dates is it's supposed to pass by Mars between October 1st today and October 7th. Then it reaches perihelion, which is its closest point to the sun, October 29. And of course, now we have the government shutdown in preparation for something. And we no longer have public access to some of the sites or they're going to discontinue the sites altogether. So through this Avi Loeb, we are being programmed, and he stated recently that 3i Atlas is much, much, much larger than they thought. Planet X. So we are being programmed to expect to see signs in the heavens using this excuse 3i Atlas and the others. Now, it's also, I already told you about the recent landing of the U.S. secret space plane X-37B, which was set up there to test a new form of navigational system to replace GPS. GPS, which will no longer be accurate due to the ongoing geomagnetic excursion. And as I suspect, we're now developing a multipolar field. And of course, the previous reports that the U.S. government is going to discontinue public access to the Department of Defense satellite data. It was supposed to be June, end of June, then they changed it to end of July. This would also include no longer having information data for the state of the magnetic field, the solar winds, the ionosphere, and I believe the fourth one was the thermosphere. So it's going to happen. The one thing that really, really concerned me, and I stated this, is when we no longer have access to the NASA sites showing the heat indications. That's an important one. The heat, the rising heat. They actually discontinued that just before the government shut down. So it's all pre-planned, people. It's all pre-planned, just like it was in 2018, going into 2019. Then they realized, okay, things are really starting to accelerate. Now we have to implement this, which they already had in the back shelves, but they needed a reason to implement it, and that's when they came up with the pandemic. They created so they had a reason for mass inoculation. And now things are happening again. Another government shutdown. So what are they going to be doing during the government shutdown when, oh, hey, of all these generals and admirals, have they RTB'd? Have they returned to base? Where are they? Just a thought. One final thing. People eventually have clued on, thanks to yours truly from the Brian Star Observatory, of the thief, con-man, fraud, Gene Barry Beards of the Mavic Star Observatory, who was on a regular basis, through his $20 toy, the TriMag system, showing you the alleged progression of the magnetic excursion. His little fake yellow pins on the computer. And which he no longer does because he's whining and complaining because he wants money. And he says this on Patreon, and I hear some people from Patreon say they're not even getting that information there, excuse me. And then they said he just got a job as being a lorry driver, a truck driver, and he's going to be making 70,000 pounds a year. I just thought of another suggestion. What if he's being paid off to be silenced now? And that's why he's no longer been providing the so-called location, the geomagnetic north, which is in contrary by about 700 to 800 kilometers from what the government has been putting out. What if that 70,000 pounds a year is not some sort of job that he's been doing? But they're paying him off. They keep quiet. Damn, Gene. You're friggin' smart, man. So you can keep on wearing your $600 pairs of jeans and driving your Porsche. So, let's keep our head on a swivel, people. I'll repeat my air show analogy. So at the air show, everybody except for one person, they're focused ahead of them. They're looking and expecting for something. And they're looking to their left, and they're looking to their right. They're expecting something to be coming. They're looking for those jets, or 3i Atlas, and the others. They're looking, okay, yeah, it's going to be coming. But the one maneuver I like is when they send that low-flying jet fighter coming in from behind them, screaming over their heads, and it scares the crap out of everybody. They weren't expecting it. They want you to see or to think that you're going to see these comets coming in. They don't want you to see what's coming up from behind. Just some of my thoughts. When I get up in the morning and I load up my computer screen with all the windows and all my apps that I watch. And it popped up, sorry, no more firms. There's going to be more, folks. There's going to be more. Slowly. So watch your politicians. Watch for any changes with them. The upper level politicians who may be in the loop of the bowl of Fruit Loops. Watch for a continuation for excuses of the deployment of U.S. National Guards and more throughout the United States in preparation for a lockdown. And I remind you of the Planet X researcher, Mr. John Moore, in one of his articles he wrote down in 2008 in reference to the Planet X as it draws closer. He said, it is far easier to implement martial law if the population is already under lockdown from, as he said in 2008, a pandemic. You create the pandemic, or you create the conditions or the excuses to keep the population under lockdown. Anyway, folks, start doing your preparations. Keep your head on a swivel and watch out for that sneaky jet fighter coming out from behind you.